Hello, my name is Enos and welcome back to my channel. This is Work and Wonder. Today too, I'm here with another video and I'll be showing you a healthcare job with certificate of sponsorship. In my last video, I posted some links under the description and most of them have expired now. As I said in my last video, if you want to see active jobs that I'll be posting, then you have to subscribe to my channel so that immediately I post a video, you can go under my description and you can find the links to these jobs. Today, I'll be doing a demonstration on how to apply for an NHS healthcare assistant job with certificate of sponsorship. So I have found another active job which unfortunately will be expiring in the next 2 days. But then if you see this video, you would be able to apply for this job. A lot of people have been asking me how they can apply for these NHS jobs because most of them will lead you to Trac, and it is on Trac that you're going to do your job application. What happens with NHS job is that most of them, the application, everything is managed on Trac jobs. Trac jobs, once you click on, you put your details and then they'll ask you a few questions. Some of them you might even be asked to upload your CV. And then when you get an interview, you'll be notified via your email, and then this will be posted on Trac. When you get an offer letter, to be posted on Trac. Your DBS is done on Trac. So Trac is more or less like a managerial website where all these application goes through it. So Trac is a big of a deal. So if you don't have an account, please make sure that you create an account with them. And then I'll be going into my PC and then I'll show you exactly how to create an account with Trac, and then I will also demonstrate to you how you'll be able to do your application, because most of the NHS jobs that are posted on any website at all is going to bring you back to Trac, and then you would have to do your application there. Once again, if you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel and then turn on the notification bell. Anytime I post a video, you'll be among one of the first people to be notified, and you can come straight to my video. Go under the description. I always post the links to these jobs which are still active, and then you can do your application there. So let's go straight into my PC and then I'll show you. So now we are in my PC. What I'm going to do is that I'll first show you the Trac jobs. So all you need to do is just to type Trac jobs. That's the first option. And once you tap on it, the very first one, that is their logo you are seeing over there. Just click on it. And then once you click on it, you will see an interface like this. All these are sites where they post their jobs. So healthjobs.uk.com, nursingnetuk.com, nursing jobs. When you click any job on this website, it's going to bring you back to Trac. But how do you get to Trac itself? Just click on login. And then it's going to bring you to this place. I already have an account with them, so you can see that my details have been pre-filled with my password. But then if you don't have an account, all you need to do is to come here where it says create an account. And then once you click on it, it's going to ask you some few questions. They'll ask you of the email you want to use, the password you want to use, and then I think your bio data, your name, your address, and some other few things that they'll be asking you here. So this is where to create the account. But because I already have an account, I wouldn't be creating one. So I'll go straight to the job that I want to talk to you about today. So let's go to the job. So here is also on job visa. If you've been watching my videos, you realize that I come to this site a lot because they post active jobs. All right. So here we have healthcare assistant and then sponsorship available. So as you can see, it's an NHS job, Berkshire Healthcare Foundation. And then we come down the job summary, what the job is about. They are going to talk about it. 37.5 in a week. That's the hours you'll be doing. Then your main duties, of course, to support the qualified staff in running of the ward and to provide direct care to patients. And then must have. So English to a standard able to fulfill the role. And then, of course, most people that are applying knows how to speak English, so it isn't much of a problem. Then about us, that's your salary you'll be getting per annum. And then you'll be working early shift, late shift, a night shift, long day. I will have a video on all these shift systems that people do in the UK, and then I will explain everything to you. But then let's move on. Move on to person specifications. NV level 2, as I've always said, if you have your senior high school certificate is equivalent to these ones, and you can apply with them. And then essential, desirable evidence. So all these things you should have. As I've always said, I always come down here and check for certificate of sponsorship. So applicants from job seekers who require current skilled worker sponsorship to work in the UK are welcome to be considered alongside all other people who apply. As I've always said, when you apply into these jobs, they always consider those that are already in the UK before they consider you. But then if your application is so good, why not? They are going to consider you for this job. So now that you've read through the criteria, you've met the criteria, and now you've also realized that they are giving certificate of sponsorship, just come to apply for job. So when you come to apply for jobs, click on it. Then you see that to apply for this job, please visit Trac. So it's going to send you back to Trac, the first website that I opened. So I'm going to click on it this way. And once I click on it, you see it has brought me back to this page. So all I need to do is first check if the job is still open. If you click any job at all and it brings you here and then it says that it's closed, what it means is that the job has closed. Whether you apply or not, it's not going to work. And here they are accepting until 21st of September. Unfortunately, this is like 2 days ahead of us. So if you see this job today, make sure you apply. And now you come here. So for me, because I already have an account, all I need to do is to sign in. So I'm signing into my Trac. And then, of course, application is going to start from here. So you start your application. So they're going to be asking you some basic questions. The first one is, are you currently an employee? Which, of course, you are not. So all you're going to select is no. And then you see all these options. You choose your immigration status. Always come to the last one, especially if you're applying outside the UK, which says that I do not have a visa or the right to work in the UK. Then you agree to the terms and conditions, and of course, you continue your application. So it's going to send us here. So once it comes here, for those that are starting to apply, this is the only option you are going to get. Because I have done a bit of application on this website, it can use my previous application to pre-fill these informations for me. But because for you, because it's going to start on a blank form, I'm going to choose this one and then I will launch the application. Now it will bring you here. When it brings you here, all these are sections that you have to fill. So you can see this is about the job. So the job has been created. And one thing I love about this is you can always come back. But for me, once you start an application, especially for something like this, which is ending in 2 days, make sure you complete it. So you come step by step. The first one is personal details. So all you need to do is to come to this side, which says start section. So you click on it. And then it will open this way. When it opens this way, personal details, come to this part which says that open. Click on it. And then you can pre-fill your information. As I said, I already have an account. So you see, mine has already been filled. If it was new, if you have just created it, under the title, they'll give you the option to choose whether you are Mr., you are Pastor, you are Doctor, your full name, you put it, your middle name, and then your address as well, your city, and then your telephone number. All these they will ask you. Then you come here, your preferred, you select full-time job, and then you go to next. But because I have an account with them, these ones have already been pre-filled for me. So once you are done here, you are okay with your details, just go to next. All I'll ask here is that your address, make sure that you give an address where you can give proof of your address, because when you get the job, they are going to ask you to provide 2 documents which will show proof of address. So whatever address you are going to use, make sure that you'll be able to prove it. And then by proving, either you are using a utility bill, a bank statement, so any of your document that has that particular address on it, make sure you use that particular address, and then you will have proof of it. And then make sure your name is correctly spelled, your number, and then of course your email as well. Now you just go to save and next, and then it's going to bring you here. So here they are going to ask you if you are related to any director or any of those big guys in the organization. If you are, just type the person's name. If you don't, just leave it blank, or you can just put NA in capital letters, which means not applicable. Then you save and go to next. Then here they will be asking you some few questions. So here, as you can see, they are going to ask you Rehabilitation of Offenders Act. They'll be asking you whether you've committed crimes and what have you. So they say that, have you got any criminal records? So here mostly people will select no for it. They are going to ask you whether you've committed any crime, whether you've ever been convicted, that kind of stuff. If you have, please be honest, just put yes. And then they are going to ask you for details, what happened, and then you explain to them. But if you don't have any criminal records and all of that, just make sure you select no and then you move ahead. So you save and go to next. So here it will tell you that you have completed the first one. So when you complete, all you need to do is to mark this section as complete. So once I click on it, you can see that all my answers have been completed. So I'll now come to the second one, which is application questions. Then I'm going to start the section. Here too, there are a couple of questions that I'll be asked. In fact, Trac would take you about 30 to 40, if you are very fast, 30 minutes to finish it. But if you are starting for the first time, at least 1 hour to finish one application. But the good thing about Trac is that once you are done with the very first application, your subsequent application, you can always make use of the old one. So you don't need to be typing what you typed in the first one over and over and over again. But because this one, I'm starting as a fresh person or as somebody who is new to Trac, that's why they're asking all these questions. So here with the application questions, I'll just come to the first one, which is educational qualifications. And then I'll just click open. And here, if you have any certificate, your education, just type here where you studied your grade. Most of the times, if it is, let's say it is in the university, you just type BSc or BA. Then you type your university name here, and then your first class upper, second class upper. If it is a college, mostly it is a pass or it's a fail. So you just put your pass there, and then year obtained, you just put the year there. All right. And then you move on to your next one. But here, if you've not filled the first one, you might not be able to move on to the second one. Here, I'm not filling anything, or I'll just put anything there, my place of study, anything there, and then my grade, anything there, and then I'll move on to the next page. So the next page says course. So here, this is where the magic happens. This is a healthcare assistant job that you are applying for. And to be able to get this job, make sure you provide all certificate in healthcare courses that you have done. There are so many of them on the internet. We have Florence, we have, I think, Nova. These are websites where you can go and then you do online courses on healthcare for patients. Most of them, once you are done, they issue you with certificates, which you can just come and put the name of the course you've done here. So if you have done, let's say, care for elderly, so care of the elderly, all I need to do, or I just put care of the aged, all I need to do is to put it here. If that is the name of the course, then training provider, let's assume it is Florence Academy. I just put Florence Academy here. And then the duration, how was it a 1-day course? Was it a 2 hours course? Was it a 5 hours course? Just put it here. Assume it's 5 hours. Then the year, if it is 2023, I just put it here. And then that is it. And you can add more. Most people you can do care of the aged, care of dementia patient, care of children, care of those that have learning disabilities. If you have as many as you can, just keep on adding and adding and adding. And once you add, you'll be able to move ahead with it. Basically that is it. My internet unfortunately just disconnected, so I'm trying to reconnect back to my laptop so that we can continue with this section. So just give me a minute. Unfortunately, so I'm just going to so I've reconnected back. Sorry for that glitch. Let's move on. So I'll just save and move on to the next. Once I save and move on to the next one is membership. Here, if you're a membership of anybody like Nursing and Midwifery Council in your home country, some nurses wants to come and work as care because probably they are having issues with IELTS, they are having some issues and they want to come in as healthcare assistant before they move on. So what you just have to say is that I do not have the relevant UK professional registration. There are so many options there. I have current professional registration. Some of them even say that you do not have, but you have applied for. UK professional registration required and applied for, especially for nurses who are applying. Probably they have written CBT and they are coming here to write the OSCE. You can just say that you have applied for it, right? So I'll select this one and then I'll just move on. If you are not registered with any professional body, just say that none of them, and then you can just put here probably you did a course in sociology but you have certificate in care and whatever. You just give a brief explanation here and then you move on. Once you move on, you come here. They are asking whether you've worked with an NHS before. If you have, you can put it there, but if you have not, just move to save and next, and then that is it. Then the next one is employer activity history, right? So here, this is where another magic happens. So here, what you are going to do here is that you are going to add your employer name. If you are employed with anybody or any organization in your country, just put it here. Then your employer address, the type of business, there probably is a care home in your home country, just put care home. If who you report to, your manager, you just put it. Then you put your telephone number here. Then your job title, if it's a carer, just put carer there. Then when you started, I'm just going to put any random date there, 2000. And then when you are ending, then your grade, basically, whether you are a junior staff, you are a senior staff, then your salary. Most of the times, this one, just put it not applicable or leave it blank. Then you come to period notice. Here, you can make it 2 weeks. What they basically mean here is if they give the job, how long would it take you to tell your employer, current employer, that you are leaving the job? Just put 2 weeks. And here, reason for leaving, give them a reason. You want to upgrade yourself. You want to have a feel of a different environment. Use this statement and then most definitely. Then a brief description. This is where actually the magic also happens. What you just need to do here is that you have to give all your experiences here, your responsibilities. So if you work in a care home in your country, what do? You take care of patients' needs, you monitor patients, tell them everything. So if the job is about, let's say, it's a hospital setting and it's about children, just make sure that you give detailed responsibility of carers with regards to what? Children. Just put it here as your experience or your responsibilities back home, and most definitely they will consider you. And then, so when you are done with that, you write as many as you can. Then you go to say save and next. Then when you come here they're asking you about gaps. Gaps simply means how long did it take you, if you were working or you were schooling, how long did it take you to hop onto another job? Basically, you completed school, you sat in the house for, let's say, 1 year before starting a job. That 1 year you were in the house, that is a gap period. So tell them what you did within that gap period. So if you were a voluntary worker, you can state it there. If you were taking some classes on care, put it there. Anything that you were doing within that period that you were not working, you were not also schooling, just put it there and then move on to next. Then the next one is supporting statements, another very important area. So here, what you are going to do is you'll be telling them why you are applying for the job. Secondly, you tell them about your qualifications. Third, you tell them why you think you are the right person for this job. All right. So that is basically about supporting statement. Why you think they should pick you, why you are applying for that job, why you think you are the suitable candidate for this job. So here, supporting statement, you have to go back to their essential criteria, their responsibilities, carve your supporting statement around that, and make sure you convince them that you are the right person for this job. And basically, once your supporting statement is good, you are most likely to be picked for an interview. So you just put anything there. I assume that I've put in it, then I'll go to save and next. Save and next. So here, because I'm just going to type anything here, and then I'll go to save and next. Then here they'll ask you whether you've ever worked with armed forces, most definitely it's going to be a no. But if you're a military person, just put yes back in your home country. Then when you are done with this, you also mark this section as what? Complete. Once you complete it, then the next section is references, right? So here you're going to give people that they can contact for them to reference, or people back home or whoever you've worked under. They will send a reference form to them, and then they are going to more or less like validate you back home. So here when you come, you pick the name or the title. If it is Mr., put the person's name, put the person's first name, second name, the referees, the organization which you were. If you are working in a hospital and it's your senior manager, put the senior manager's name, put where they are working. If it is, let's say, Lakeshare Hospital, just put Lakeshare Hospital. Then the title, maybe clinical manager, put it there. How do you know this person? The person is your tutor, the person is your, it can even be somebody who taught you in school. Just put the person's name there. And then you put the person's address, the person's country, the person's phone number. Here, it is the email that is very, very important, because when you get the job, they are going to send them a reference form. And this reference form, they'll basically be asking them questions. How have they known you? Since they've known you, have you ever been involved in anything that will not that will make you unfit for this job and all of that? So make sure the email is right. And here too, I would advise that always use people that you can always rely on, because some of these employment, it will come in and then they need the information as fast as possible. If you put in somebody who is not a computer literate, and then, or people that will stress you, then it's going to be very difficult for you. So put people you can call on 24/7 to do this referencing for you, but just make sure that they are senior to you at work. And then basically that is it. Here at least you need 2 people, so just make sure you fill in 2 people. And then when you are done, you just save and then continue. Because I have not filled, that's why it might not allow me to move forward. But I'll just try and put anything and then try to see if we can move forward with it. So basically I'm just putting anything. If I don't do that, it won't allow me to move forward. So let's see if we can now move forward. So we'll fix that later. So when we are done with this, because I have not completed it, I cannot mark it as complete. But if I had filled it rightly, then I'll be able to mark it as complete. I don't want the video to be unnecessarily long. So the last thing is equality opportunities. So here they'll be asking you about your sexual orientation, your religion and all of that. So as you can see, equality and diversity monitoring. So here they are going to ask you your date of birth. You just put anything there. Indicate your gender, whether you're a male or female, or you don't want to say it. Here, whether you are married, you are single, you indicate your ethnicity. And then straight. So basically you put your sexual orientation here, and then you indicate your religion as well, whether you're a Christian, whether you are a Muslim. Then you save and move to the next. And here, disability, they will ask you whether you are disabled in any way. If you are not, just simply select no, and then you move forward. And then you state where you first saw the advert. If it was on Google or if it was on social media, just save and move forward. And then here, declaration, you have to agree. So you agree and then you save. Once you are done, then you can mark this section as complete. When you are done with everything, this button which says that submit application is going to show. But because the references has not been completed, I cannot submit this application. But once that you are done, I always advise that you go through from top to down. You look at your bio data, whether everything is correct. You look at your application questions, whether you've answered these questions very well. You come look at your references to see the name, the email, especially whether it's correct. Then you come to your equal opportunities. Make sure you've selected your sexual orientation, whether you are disabled, and all that. You've made the correct selections. And then once you are done with everything, then you can now submit your application. So that is basically for Trac jobs. As you can see, it will take you about, if you are a beginner or this is your first application, it's going to take you about an hour or an hour and a half maximum for you to be able to complete this. And our advice that your first application, always take your time. Make sure all your details are correct. Make sure you have the right experiences, especially where they were asking of the responsibilities. Make sure you tailor it towards the job that you are applying for. If it is for dementia or it's for old people, make sure you give them responsibilities that are related to that. You've worked in a dementia home before, this and this and this is what you did. Then when you come to the supporting statement, make sure you convince them that you are the right person for this job. Give them your experience. Tell them what you can do and tell them what you're going to bring on table. And these are things that they will look at. Then when you get to your other questions, your references, make sure you use people that you can rely on 24/7, that can always come in and then they will reference you to this particular job. Make sure your details are correct, your date of birth, your address, and then basically you are good to go. A lot of people always apply on Trac, so they run it through an application, and then the application is always looking for some specific things. So as I've said, if it is dementia, they are looking for things that are related to dementia. So if you do your whole application without any reference into dementia responsibilities in it, your application will not be selected and you will not be given a job interview. As I said, everything is managed on Trac. So when you get a job interview, it will bring you back to Trac, and then you book an interview date. They will give you date, and then they will give you time for you yourself to select. And once you do that, you get an email notifying you that your interview is on so and so day, and it is this time. Make sure you log in and all of that. And then when you get an offer letter, the offer letter will also be uploaded here, and it will also be sent to your email. So you can see that everything keeps on bringing you back to Trac. When you even get into your country, your DBS check will also be here. Your occupational health checklist will also be on Trac. So make sure you do your Trac applications very, very well. Well, this has been a very intriguing section with you here on Work and Wonder. My name is Enos. I'm going to put this particular job, which is ending on the 24th of September. This Sunday it is ending. I'm going to put the link under the description so that you can click on it, and then it will bring you to Trac. Make sure you create an account with Trac, and then you can do your application here on Trac. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel so that anytime I post these jobs links, you can be notified, and then you can immediately come and apply. My name is Enos. This is Work and Wonder, and I'll see you in my next video. It is a bye for now.